do it.
I have an assistant, but she didn't came. Yes, she go to take my stuff in Brooklyn because we have shooting next day. And so anyway, I don't know where she lost or not. Okay, thank you guys for coming to the talk. And I'm very appreciate everybody who this weather and ready to come over. Yeah, I didn't even with any hope, but I'm glad. So, and also I'm very happy at the beginning, he came to me about talking about what means relativity. Like there are a lot of arguments or a lot of interesting conversations. But today, I want to talk about some things because these exhibitions, Relativity, they have two parts. This is just one part backward, and they have another part in Grand Central forward. So it means like think about the relativity, the time directions, and forward and backward. So these are two exhibitions combined together, and it's also independently to understand each exhibitions. And actually today's talk, I won't talk too much about how I make these photographs because I think the technical things is not just one time to share, and also it's meaningless for me, I feel. Once you get to use the camera, it's just to play with it. And the concept behind it and how everything came out is very important while you try to develop yourself as an artist to create things. So today I'm gonna share 3 points of the whole things. Yeah, the first, I really want to share how everything begins. Like why the relativity will come to my mind. I mean, a lot of people think about the relativity. I think the word is not just a sudden show up to myself, because all my life, I think I'm always trying to find the existence of myself. Like I don't understand why I came to the world. So it takes me a really long time to search who am I, and why am I, and where am I, and what am I. So this kind of searching while developing myself, artistic practice to do the photographs. At the beginning, I just take people's to learn other people's stories. I don't know, create photographs. I just follow photographs, actually. Take the things already there, take the things I already know, but I actually never create the concept in my mind. But I think this is kind of a conscious or unconscious ideas in my heart. Like I just keep watching and doing the things. Then I feel like there is something in this kind of camera, in the black box. So if you know camera very well, you know, and that you need to be very well. The very original to take the photos is goes through one light, goes through a black box, and to show the opposite way in the light. That's the inventory of the camera, right? Even if you know a little bit about photography. But also the black box, the concept, the word in science is about something you don't know, you don't understand. And also, so this kind of things like I don't understand like why I keep capturing stuff into my black box. So actually I created a lot of photographs, but they are black box. They are questions. They are something actually for me, what it's all about. So I began to think like, what can prove I exist before? Then I would think about time, right? I will go chasing my history. When I grow up, where I was born, family, the peoples, and the environment, the schools, and the where location. I originally from China, and I traveled in different cities, countries, to do the things, to study. And all these are marks of my life. So this time and the space, the two concepts just naturally show up to say, thing I could find my existence maybe is that time can more, I think, ideally to prove I exist before, or the space, like the location, can to prove I exist before. So there is a kind of battling to both. So I started doing research about these two concepts, before all this all started. So this kind of go back to a lot of the roots of the everything. So I did a lot of research, and then I'm not physics, so I don't know a lot of knowledge about the general relativities. Then I go to read a lot of books. Still a lot of concepts that I understand, right? Because they're very difficult. But I think I understand the relativity, the concept about the time and space very well, because it's talking about things like everything exists, have a cause. And this cause, if you think about universe start with nothing, is that possible? If you think it's possible, but there's still a cause for nothing. So you think you're nothing, you're not existable, but it's still a cause to prove you didn't exist before, right? And if you exist, there must have a result to show up. So this kind of things for myself feels very interesting. What is that? And how I can play it or understand it in my works, in my photographs, and who and how actually apply this whole concept to show in the photographs. Then I think there is it's also begins the childhood. I think there is a lot of times for myself try to disappear. So I did a lot of stupid things. I think everybody in the childhood did some stupid things. At that time I even don't know art that much, and I don't know photography, and I just feel it's very interesting and easy to disappear. So besides if we think we're nothing, because sometimes I don't know, it's very hard actually to imagine you're nothing, right? So and then you will try to play with how I can be nothing and how I can be invisible, and is that matter to other people's? So I think at the time when I played with and I try to end my life at some point, there's certain times that happens when I was a kid. Because there is kind of a point you just try to reach to see extremely, right? So when it happens, then I just try to realize, because obviously my parents stopped it, and I get punishment with those kind of stupid behavior. And in the childhood, it actually rooted me a lot. For you have to exist in the world. So it's something because parents place you in the world and push you to be in the world in the very beginning of your life, right? So at that point, I understand myself existence is about my life or related to them. I never actually think about my own as an independent individual. So those kind of things is something rooted in my mind. All these things begins as I'm searching for the existence and then talk about the relativity. And for me, I think the concept to come out after I study about that, I feel all the time, why we think all these things are moving around us, they have a time direction. So why is always you think the time is move forward, right? Because through the relativity, the theory, the time only go one direction, move forward. But I don't know if you ever thought, if you, as an individual in the world, you are the beginning of the time. So think about the relativity, like we all need to have a subject. We assume the subject doesn't be impact with other things. So other things that we can compare with it. So like, if I'm a good person, well, how do you know I'm a good person? Because you compare with other people, not that good, right? So I'm successful. How do you know I'm successful? You compare, also I'm unlucky. I compare to myself. I'm unlucky because I compare to other people, so lucky, so born with rich and something like that. And I'm not seeing good. Like all these comparisons, I grow slow, I grow faster. Like all this comparison is application. It's like a unconsciousness application of the relativity, right? So this concept, if all in this creating about the thinking about to making the stuff and finding the existence, then I start to put my own subject as the beginning of the time. So actually there is also the photography, like right in between, like just myself to play with that. So if I'm the beginning of the time, so I can control the time to move forward and backward. Because everything is relative to me. So if I do things slow, everything relatively faster and forward to my time, right? And if I do things faster and everything actually compared to me, it's slower, backwards. So I can actually decide my past and future and control the time dilation. It's not we have to follow the rules. So that's a concept for myself. Like, so sometimes we focus on outside of the thing too much. We think our times decided only by the present, past, now, future, and also like you say the time just 24 hours, and you say the things move too fast, and you didn't grow, and there are a lot of things you have done, and okay, there are a lot of time you waste, and there are a lot of time meaningless, and there are times you think you want to make it meaningful. But all these kind of things, I think there is a potential you just forget about yourself. Because a lot of people try to find the existence of themselves, actually they forgot they actually exist. So the existence is relatively exist, right? Because you exist. So you proved I exist. You remember me, right? I don't know you forgot what. And because the chair exists, I sit there. This can prove I exist, right? So everything around us can make this time and space in a relatively way under your control, forward or backward. So that's a concept for myself to think about. Actually, I'm very free. Actually, I didn't actually limit it to anything. Like why I sometimes feels like I'm very stressful and have to prove. Like all the times people will always ask like, why we have to be in the world, like why we have to live, these kind of questions. But then I think if I use the way to control the direction of myself, then I will realize like actually I can play with my life. I don't have to be in the point or in the age I have to be, right? So like if people like expect you, oh right now you're almost 30s, okay, I have to be 38, in this point 30 should do what. But I think you still feel I'm the kid. I'm still, maybe the mind still like 5 years old or 7 years old, like that time. But for me, I'm the beginning of the time. All the outsiders are under my control. I can let them forward faster or let them go slow. It doesn't matter, because that's the thing about the thought about everything around. So this kind of a concept original to look to about my photographs, because people think photography and photographs are stills, but are stills still? So that's a question. Like, you think, like we use this thing to take photographs to freeze the moment, right? But the moment you freeze, is that the moment really still? Not really, right? Through the relativity way to understand, actually nothing is still, absolutely, right? There is opposite way, like there are no absolute stills, right? So, with how this whole project started, like when I was in a trip to Seattle, because all this concept actually in my mind for a long time, I just don't know how to express it. I'm actually into a lock of myself, want to explore what the limits of myself and what I can create. I think as an artist, you always that kind of a moment cannot create, right? And but that's also the moment, like compared to the moment you create. So you thought you stopped creating or like create slow, right? So you don't have any inspirations, and you just so lost. And but all these things actually unconsciously rooted in my mind. I just want to search the answer and how I can express them, use what I can do. So when I went on a trip in Seattle, I was in the museum, and it's a fine art museum in Seattle. And I would just sit in the room. I don't know, I just carry the camera, and I'm just walking around. I don't know even whether I'm gonna take pictures or not, because you know, photographer just try to carry cameras. You know, you want to save some moments, right? Like you carry the camera, came over, right? Yeah, I know. So like every time you just say, maybe I can find some moments I like, maybe I don't, right? Then I just, but I didn't take any photos. It was just so boring. Like going in the museum and just look around, and I don't know what to do. But at that moment, actually, because I traveled myself and I finished my work, and I just, I don't know, I feel like, anyways, I'm just gonna waste my time. Okay, I just sit there, start to waste my time. So it's a way. Then there is a video, there is full screen. They are showing the dance video. There is an exhibition about dancers, and they have a full screen. There is a huge stage, like square, and all around. And I was in that room, so empty. And I would just try to chasing the full screen, play different dance videos. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this kind of circle. I feel like, and because it's so dark, and I would try to chasing the movement to say where am I, and who are, like, you know, just to see why I'm still in the space and the things and all the things that move around with me. And am I moving? And am I still, like, what am I? Like, because I feel I'm stuck in that kind of square. And everybody dancing, screens around me. And I hold my camera. I don't know what to do. So I'll just stop looking. And I started thinking about myself. I think if all this full screen all stopped, where I be? So if I could freeze the moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, actually I'm locked in this point. And I will be the person who dances really happy, like around all the things, like compared to them. I will be the people who run very fast and whatever. I don't know what that movement will be because of full screens. right? Every screen, relatively to me, is different, right? Confused. Then I say, maybe I can do some capturing, like to see how I can imagine these kind of things, like all these people, all these screens are stopped and I'm moving. Then I start to take picture of the screens. Yeah, I'm trying to freeze them. I used all different kinds of speeds and all different kinds of apertures. That's what you mentioned about exposures. But from the technical way, I feel people who really use the photograph or cameras, it's just a tool. It's not like to fixing certain points of the numbers, right? It doesn't have to actify or like exposure, something like that. There's no point to fix it. But the point is to how to play it, right? And to find how you're gonna play with it. And I actually, in that moment, I found it so interesting to capture the screens because I used like the slow motion. Actually, they captured the light, and I try to do, okay, count 1, 2, 3. Okay, I say people 1, 2, 3, and then they covered it. Open the black box. Question. Open the black box. Open the black box. Actually, all the things not under my control. I just let it freeze and let it compose the moment itself, because I don't know what it's gonna turn out, right? You know, that's a moment you have let your work to be, let you to create it, let it to be something. So like I feel like, okay, I'm right now. So in another point, I think like black box, the camera black box, also for me, I think it's kind of black hole, right? It's like think about it. Time and space, you close, the time is faster. The speed is faster at the light, close to the light. Then there are no differences, right? Then we can travel back in a relatively way, right? Actually, it's in the reality theory, it's just we didn't speed that faster than the light. So we didn't achieve that actually time travel, right? So, but it's actually the black hole's concept is like everything near black hole will go into black hole, right? And we don't know what the result. So everything go to my black box. Will go in that black box, and I don't know the result. And I like time and space be itself. And then it turns out the photographs. And there is a direction about the weight. You know, the gravities. You will see the whole photographs. You will feel like the weight, the real gravities. Like so. As we know the physics, like our head is slower than our feet, right? The time, because we have like this have more gravity than our feet, right? There is a gravity between, right? So that's kind of concept. No, yeah, I do the study. Yeah, but that's something like to think about. Photographs while I created that, but it's our original beginning of this whole project to manage it. But it's also I begin to find like a lot of photographs before I did actually potentially have this kind of idea. I just didn't realize it. So a lot of times while you're creating, don't think you are creating for a project. Just create, because the point is not to make sense. The point is to make, for me, I think. So it's like, so there are a lot of photographs also collect, some photographs I did before to combine them together, to make this whole series forward and backward, and let me to rethink about the time myself. And also, these all originals actually said, I begins with myself at the time to travel, and I like my photograph be itself, because those a lot of photographs here and in another gallery in Grand Central. A lot of times you see the photographs. I think a lot of times I'm not on purpose to make it. It's why I collect those kind of things. I repetition moments, actually I forgot myself because I'm so enjoying the moment I'm doing. So I let myself travel in the black box and let my photograph or the moment in front of me go through my black box to see where it goes. It sometimes can go forward, sometimes can go backward, and let the time, you think, speed up or slow down. Yeah, so it's an understanding about myself go through this way. But also, I think it's also very important for myself to talk about something besides actually creating the photographs. I think a lot of people will think about creating a photograph or the concept have to really put yourself in a position I don't know if you've ever heard some people say, I gonna sit in here, wait for inspiration, right? Something like that, we just sit and wait for inspiration, and then wait. I think that's a good way as well. I'm not talking is not good, but also I feel it's also important while you're doing the things, while you're thinking the things. It's good to just give a try and to see how it looks, because besides I did the photographs, I did a lot of media as well, and trying to present these ideas. And for this also happened, I didn't use the frame to block put this in this kind of frames, but I picked this kind of blocks. These special blocks is for the concrete to build the architect to build the buildings. It's actually toys, but it's something for the buildings. You can use these blocks, collect them to build a house. So it's a base about the locations, and this location is fixed, and this space actually is fixed. It's not. If you through relativity way to think, it obviously is moving, right? So nothing is fixed. Like this location we are right now is also moving, right? But the whole exhibition and also the whole photograph series, I try to make them based on the concept about what my time is and what the photograph I create with it, and I want to combine the space and the time together to see the battling with each other, because I feel it's very important while you're shooting stuff or doing the works. I feel all the things we create, it's not about to answer any questions. It's not about so I have to be really honest, to say it's really painful for artists to explain what the photographs tell you. I have to really honestly, it's such a painful thing because I think the thing is very important to say is because I feel sometimes you see if people ask you to explain the thing you are doing, to explain something, the explanation sounds like an excuse, right? Sounds like try to find excuse to make this work make sense, like that. I was doing that a lot before. I try to, you should understand my work, you should do that. But after I study other category of the things, I opened my mind very wide. I threw my mind, go to the universe, go to the moon, fly to the moon. Yeah, so this kind of things, I feel, I think I'm so shallow, locked myself just in I'm just a photographer, I'm just doing the photo. But I'm not. I'm an artist, I'm creating art. And why I just locked just to take pictures? But I'm not, I'm creating stuff to show the things, right? And I show all the concepts, and I study other things to show it. And it's not it's a moth.